everyone! So, it's been too long since I've done a painting video, but I'm trying to do more art on my channels. A while back, I painted this painting of Moomin Valley, and I love Moomin. If you guys don't know what Moomin is, that's this guy right here. Basically, I did a painting, as you can see, this is a painting. I did this a little while back, and ever since then, I've been really wanting to paint Moomin, so I've also been doing this painting that I plan to finish with you guys today. And I also wanted to talk for a bit about some stuff. I tried my best to do a speed paint, but my hair was in most of it, and you can't really see the canvas, so if you guys want me to post it, I can still post it. Let me know in the comments, but if not, I don't think I'll be doing that. Let's just get onto this painting and move on, because I love how this one came out. I kind of wanted to do another painting. So this is what I'm working on today. I did most of the background, but not all of it. I don't know actually how long it's even going to take me, so I figured let's just chat for a bit. So I kind of want to skip a super long intro and just kind of get into the painting. So since there is a long ways to go on this painting, I figured we could do some of it together and just kind of chat and hang out. This is green. I'm not looking for green. Let me just like get my paint set up. I literally have no idea what's going on. Just gonna throw those out there. So basically there was some stuff that I wanted to talk about and just kind of like chat with you guys and kind of clear my head, and I figured a good chance to do that would be while I'm painting, so that's why I'm doing this now. Also, I really want to finish this painting, so hopefully I can also do that today. So I need to mix a color I can use so that I can paint and talk at the same time, because I'm really bad, to be honest, at painting and talking at the same time. So today's gonna be an experiment. First thing I'm gonna paint is some trees. Oh, my reference picture is also like right below the camera, so if I keep like glancing in this direction, that's why. One of the reasons I wanted to chat with you guys today is because I'm going back to school really soon, and that's kind of like, it's not really nerve-wracking. I wouldn't say I'm nervous about it. It's just something that's coming up soon. Going back to RISD means a lot of things. It means going back to having a lot of work, a super heavy workload. It means having to figure out time management all over again, now with a different schedule. It means having to live by myself again and getting settled in with that. It means a bunch of things. And also it means now, since I am a sophomore, there's a whole class below me now, which is really weird to think that I'm like 1 year older already, because I don't feel like I am, but I guess I technically am. It's really weird to think about that. But I remembered last year when I was going into RISD as a freshman, and I was kind of nervous, kind of scared, and I was looking on the internet for people who went to RISD already and like what their lives were like. I was always trying to find like a freshman survival guide, which I guess just doesn't exist because I never ended up finding any. So I promised myself that I would make one of those when I became a sophomore, because now I kind of have like more info to be giving people. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Also, just what it's like going to RISD and a lot of that stuff. I've made a bunch of videos though already, like about RISD and stuff, so I didn't want to like get too into it, but I did just want to talk about it the slightest bit. I feel like when I was going into RISD, I was definitely like super nervous about it, and I didn't really know what to expect at all, because I had never really even lived away from home except for one time at a summer camp. That just like doesn't compare at all, you know? And so I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I also heard a lot of rumors at the time when I was a kid of how difficult RISD was, and I just couldn't tell if people were being serious or not, if it was like seriously like as bad as everyone made it out to be, because I remember like freaking out, being like, it's so stressful, am I even gonna be able to do this? There's so much work, the workload's insane. I heard of people like pulling all-nighters and stuff and like never getting sleep, and I was just like, oh my god, is that like a thing? Does that actually happen? And so if you guys are RISD's rising class, first of all, congratulations on getting into RISD. And second of all, welcome. It isn't as bad as everyone makes it seem, but I do have some tips for you guys if you want to hear them. This tree is looking a little interesting, to say the least. I can't even tell what these little leaves are doing. I think I remember being a freshman and like literally looking up what RISD would be like the first year, and a lot of the results just being completely like not what I was looking for at all. So I'm here to basically tell you guys what my experience was like. Because I vlogged so much throughout my freshman year, if you guys haven't seen any of those and you're really considering like what RISD is like the first year, I would definitely recommend go and check those videos out, just because that's like real life, real time. You can see exactly like what it was like and how I lived, and you know, basically everything you could possibly want to know about it. But just kind of for freshmen though who like have no idea what RISD's about, RISD does have super long classes. There are classes that go from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and they're super long and they feel super tiring, and you have to wake up early and, you know, get there. Sometimes there's even lectures before your studio classes, which are basically your super long classes. And so one thing you're really gonna have to learn is to get enough sleep, which is really hard to do in college, especially if you're like really into being active and, you know, getting around and like hang out with your friends and stuff, and you want to go home at like 2 or 3 a.m. That maybe won't be, I wouldn't say be possible, because a bunch of people definitely do still like live and hang out and, you know, do all that. But I must say, I don't think that's the most responsible thing to be doing that, just because, like I said, you have so many classes and they are really early in the morning, and the absence policy at RISD is basically non-existent. If you miss like 2 of your studio classes, at least when I was a freshman, then your teacher could potentially drop you from the course, which means that you're kicked out of class, basically. So if you miss out enough classes, that could happen to you, and super easily, especially because of how the classes only meet like once per week. Your schedule's still super full because you have a lot of other things to do, but each class you usually only see like once a week. And so even though that doesn't sound bad, you do have a lot of work. And because of that whole once a week thing, that's why like if you miss barely any classes, you could get dropped because you don't even go to that class a lot in the first place. So it does make sense. It's just kind of hard to manage. So definitely getting a good sleep cycle will help you a lot. Sometimes that's not possible though, and at times you are gonna have to stay up super late to get assignments done. Even if you are super good at time management, I think of myself as someone who is pretty good at time management, and by second semester I was sleeping like at 12 every single night and waking up at like 7 to get ready for class, so it wasn't too terrible. It's definitely doable. I do definitely think the workload at RISD is doable and it's not impossible. It definitely was possible to get like all their work done, just maybe not what you always want to do, because that does mean you have to do a lot of work and like all the time. I don't know why painting this tree is stressing me out so much. I feel like every time I paint on camera I get like really stressed out, or every time I do art on camera, I guess, I feel really stressed. Okay, I'm gonna add like the slightest bit more of highlight to this tree, and then I'm going to call it a day, because this tree is just in the background and I still have rocks to paint and the stump and then the moomins. And I'm trying to finish this all before the lighting goes really bad, because I'm sitting next to my window and it's already 6 p.m. and the sun is setting, so let's see how this goes. But there's my tree for now. Now it's time to paint some rocks, I guess. Don't know how I'm gonna do this. Oh my god, now there's rocks to paint. Okay, this is fine. I'm kind of stressed about painting the rocks, not gonna lie. So, but like I said, sleeping is very important. I never realized how, like, going into RISD, I really thought I was super ambitious, and I was like, oh, it's fine if I don't sleep at all. I don't need sleep. I'll just power through it. I don't care if I get enough sleep. What I care about is my work. But like, when you think that mindset, it works at first, but then the more you do it and the more you stay up and the more your body just like doesn't take care of itself, and then also your parents aren't there to take care of you, which is super hard. So if you get sick, it's just not a good time at all. Like, yeah, your friends will take care of you, but you don't have like as much attention as you would get from your parents, which is, you know, super lovely and nice. So you're gonna miss your parents a lot when you get sick. Also, it's just so much better to just try not to get sick in the first place and then try to take care of your body. And sleeping is so important, and I never realized how important sleeping was until I went to college, and now I'm like an old person and like it gets kind of like remotely late and I'm just like, I think I need some sleep now, guys. Good night. Nothing's worse than having to try so hard to stay awake during class when you could just get enough sleep in the first place. And it really will just save you a bunch of trouble, and you'll feel better and you won't risk getting sick, especially with the super cold winters at RISD. You just do not want to get sick, and like I hope you guys don't get sick. I got sick one time and it sucked so hard. Wow, second rock. Oh my god, that's a big rock. Okay, I guess we're doing that. Oh, okay, that paint is wet. Okay, I made this rock way bigger than I meant to, but that's what we're doing, I guess. Another tip I have is time management. Time management is a big thing at RISD. If you are not good at time management, I suggest you get a planner and you learn ASAP, because the workload at RISD, like I said, is not easy and is not fun, but it is manageable if you're able to do that. And I think one thing that RISD really teaches is time management, because you do have so much homework and you do have so many classes that all ask for different things and they ask for all of your time, but you don't have all of your time to give to each class, obviously, because you gotta, you know, spread it out. So you gotta learn how to manage your time properly and do that. That is super nice at RISD to learn, because I do think it's like a really important life skill. Like, if you don't know how to time manage when you're an adult, I can't imagine that being a good thing, but it's super hard to learn, especially if you weren't really good at it to begin with. I was fortunate enough that I think I'm okay at time management, which is why, you know, I was able to sleep and stuff. But like, there will be times where you'll have to say no to certain things because you gotta learn to manage your time. And tips on time management aside from that helped me at RISD was making to-do lists, which was really interesting because I always thought like a super adult thing to do to like make to-do lists, but it's actually super helpful, especially making to-do lists just for your day. Like, after class, you just take 5 minutes, make a to-do list of everything you need to do, and then just kind of go through it, and whatever's left on your list you won't forget tomorrow because you already have it on a list. Making to-do lists would definitely recommend. Having a planner would also recommend, but I don't think it's super necessary. I think I was okay without a planner just because my classes didn't meet that often, so I usually only had to remember to like finish one homework assignment per class, and if I just remembered what class I had the next day, then I would remember to do it. But if you're really bad with time management, I would still suggest to get a planner. These rocks do not look good. I don't like how these rocks are coming out. But you know what, we'll just go with it for now because I have another rock to do. And I'll just cover it up with some grass or something. But on the topic of time management, if you do realize that you're like struggling with your time management, don't freak out. And honestly, I've always been the type to like try to get my work done before I play. And so if you are able to do that, I would definitely recommend that, just because like it's really important to be able to get your work done at RISD, because first of all, you're paying a lot to go to that school. You worked really hard to get into that school, and so it's not going to be easy to get out of it, but it is going to be worth it. So if you really put in the effort for this school, like, it will be worth it. Like, sophomore year you get into your major, because you know, freshman year you're not in your major yet, you're still in foundation year, which is basically a year of testing where you can kind of explore and see what you want to do, and maybe your major isn't exactly what you want to do, so you have a chance to figure that out, which is super nice in my opinion, and I think is very beneficial. So you have some time to figure out and try new things, and maybe it is exactly what you want to do, or maybe it's not. For me, I didn't end up changing majors at all, but you know, I do know a lot of people and a lot of friends who ended up changing their major, and so I think it is a really important time for your development. You will be spending a lot of time doing things that are out of your comfort zone, which is the third tip I have, is to not be afraid to take a risk. I think foundation year is a fantastic time to take a risk. I took a lot of risks and I tried a lot of new things, and I think if you go into RISD for your first year and you didn't try something new that you've never done before, then you should try to do that more, just because I know taking risks is really difficult, especially when it comes to art, and I think everyone at RISD would consider art to be one of the most important things in their life, and it's not something you want to just like toy around with, but taking risks is really important and it can help you learn new things and learn maybe that there's something new that you actually like that you weren't doing before. And so if you do take risks, I think you'll find that it'll benefit you a lot. Maybe like you'll finally be able to do that one thing that you always wanted to do. That was the case with me a lot at RISD, was like I finally got to do this one thing I always wanted to do but I never got to do because I didn't have, you know, the resources or the options or the whatever. But at RISD you kind of have all those things. Your assignments usually are pretty, depending on your teacher, they can be very open-ended, so when you happen to get one of those beautiful open-ended assignments, like just take advantage of it and try something new. You know, if you're good at something already, then like you're good at it. You know, you don't have to keep doing it, but if you try something new, maybe you can find something new to get good at, you know, things like that. That's my standpoint at least, is that like I think it would be really beneficial, and you just have a much more fun time if you're willing to try new things at RISD your first year. I know that can be scary, but I also think it should just be really, really good. And this rock just is not blending. Please blend, please. I have another rock to cover it with anyway. These rocks are driving me crazy. I didn't think these rocks would be so hard, but it's just like this specific art style is kind of hard to mimic. Lay down the shadow, and I'm gonna take some of this lighter color and add it, and then I'm just gonna blend it, and that's how you make a rock. A fourth thing at RISD that I think is really important is to try to find out how to manage your stress, because I think a lot of people manage their stress in different ways, and some are good and some are bad. And especially because it's college and your first year of college and maybe you don't quite know how to take care of yourself yet, I think it's important to like consider what's a good thing you're doing and what's a bad thing you're doing. And if you're unable to cope with stress or anything at all, you should try to get some help from maybe a friend, or reach out to your family, give them a call, and, you know, try to figure that out. I realized that one thing that helps me with stress a lot was working out. So I would go to the gym a lot and like run or, you know, exercise or do whatever. Because also you don't get to move a lot when you just sit at a desk and do art all day. So I like to try to go to the gym as much as I can, but like if that isn't your thing, then, you know, maybe you can find something else to do. But I think it's just important to like have an outlet to manage your stress, because you're not going to have a lot of time at RISD to be doing that in the first place. Oh, these rocks are done-ish. I really don't like how these rocks turned out. But, like, do you see them? They just look like spheres. But I'm gonna cover the bottom with some grass anyway, so hopefully that'll fix it. I think I'm gonna go in and do some of that now. Yeah. Like, the way this scene has a lot of little details that are really cute. So I'm gonna go in and do some of the texturing on the ground and the grass and the whatever. Why do I feel like that makes it just so much better already? But oh, like I was saying, stress management is like a really important skill to have. It's part of self-care. You should also learn how to balance work with like self-care time and be able to like take care of yourself, because like I said, that all is just like really difficult, especially at a time like freshman year. I know it can be challenging. Okay, why do I hate that? I think it's too dark. I'm gonna lighten it a little bit. I'm just trying to add some like texture to the ground right now, but it's really hard. I feel like everything that I do on camera always just comes out bad, which is why I feel really stressed to like draw on camera, because then I feel like it has to be good and then it doesn't get good, and then I'm like, oh no, how do I fix it? And I don't know how to fix it, and then it just gets worse. I feel like it's not as bad as I think it is. It's just not as good as I wanted it to be. But it's okay. It's a process, you know. Painting is a process. I need to just slow down. But oh yeah, balancing, like a lot of it goes to time management, to be honest. I think it's super important to learn how to manage your time properly and well, and to add more grass that hopefully makes these rocks look less terrible, because I kind of hate them right now. It's okay, I'm sure. It's all just part of the process. It's okay. I'll get back to the grass later. I think I want to work on the tree stump, which is also stressful looking, but it's okay, I'm sure. After the tree stump though, it's relatively easy because the moomin are pretty simple. They're just kind of like plain blocky colors. So let's get into the tree stump. How do I even make this color? Everything in this painting is so like blue and green that I haven't really been using any other colors, to be honest. But it looks like there's a bit more introduction to the color yellow in the tree stump, which I'm excited about. So yeah, there's that. A lot of blending involved, which is, you know, fine, but I wasn't really anticipating that in a moomin painting, I must say. I kind of was hoping it would be semi-easy. I know when it comes to blending acrylic, it's super stressful. Oh, I'm using acrylic paint, by the way, if you guys didn't know. But I feel like it's super stressful because, like, once it gets dry, there's no going back. But if it's too wet, the paint just kind of lifts and, like, doesn't want to do anything. So, yeah. Also, I need that a little bit darker, I feel like. Now I gotta blend before it's dry. This is just gonna be a huge layering process that you guys get to watch me suffer while you guys hang out and do virtually nothing. Or maybe you're painting with me. If you guys are painting with me and you're also struggling, please comment down below so that we can share our pain together. I did previously draw this tree stump, and I kind of drew everything up. As you can kind of see by the moomins, they just get kind of covered, as it tends to be with acrylic paint for me, is that I always just end up covering the important things that I kind of needed. While I wait for that part to dry, I'm gonna go in and paint a few of the little flowers that seem to be on the ground. I'm just gonna make them light blue, just because, you know, that feels appropriate for this painting that's basically been all blue. Oh, one thing I do have to say about RISD though is that it really isn't as competitive as I thought it was. At least from my first year, all my classes were very supportive of each other, which was really okay. I just smudged that. Okay, it's fine. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. No need to freak out. It's fine. I saved it. Anyway, I thought RISD was going to be a super competitive environment where I was going to be really nervous. I do think criticism is important when it comes to art and all that stuff, but I still think you should feel confident in trying something new and like taking risks. And that's why I say you should take risks, because RISD is a super supportive environment, and I never once felt like judged necessarily for what I was doing. Like, maybe people wouldn't like it, but they have valid reasons for not liking it, and they still will like appreciate you trying something new and like recognize that like it was a big step for you, and be super kind and polite about it. Like, no one's like a jerk. And so I think that was one thing I wasn't expecting about RISD, was for it to be such a chill environment. But I think it's because everyone's so stressed together that we kind of all just like share the pain. As I just said, it is like, it's not that competitive, and it definitely is better than I expected it to be when it comes to that. Also, the food there, I wouldn't say is terrible. I think RISD has like one of the higher ranked cafeterias for colleges. They have a lot of like vegan options and vegetarian options for everyone who has like dietary restrictions, and they also have gluten-free stuff, and so it works out pretty well. I think along with all those options though, they do have some like good food, and they switch out their food super often. I'm gonna do the other side of flowers after I do this next part of the tree trunk. I guess this tree trunk isn't actually as difficult as I anticipated, but it is still quite difficult, I would say. Just trying to lay down the light areas where I see them, and then the rest seems pretty dark, so I'm gonna fill that in like that, and then I'm gonna add the deeper shadows, and now just blend it all out. Okay, yeah, the only thing is that this shadow color isn't quite dark enough for my liking. Since these kind of connect, I'm kind of okay with going on to the next part already without having to wait for it to dry. So I'm just gonna go ahead. I should also start introducing the yellow. Where is that yellow ochre color? There it is. Add a little bit of that into the painting. I see a little bit of it. Oh, that was way too bright, but okay. Saw a little bit of it over there, but now it's kind of just taken over the entire thing. Painting is just such a back and forth, and it can be like the most stressful thing when it doesn't go right. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna wait for that to dry because the colors aren't coming out as bright as I would like them to because they're mixing with the shadow color underneath. So we're gonna go back to those little flowers that we were painting before. Wait for the tree trunk to dry a little bit more, and then there's... But anyway, let's go back to some RISD tips. I'm trying to think of other stuff. The campus of RISD is very strange, and it's super hilly. Like, it's on an incline, and it's like the steepest hill I've ever had to climb that wasn't like when I went hiking or something. Maybe just because of the area I live is like super flat. You are gonna work your thighs. It's gonna be quite a trip going up and down that hill every day, or almost every day, because your classes will be located around that hill because RISD's campus is just located around that hill. So if you don't like hills and you're going to RISD, you better learn to like it because it's gonna suck. But you know, it's not the worst thing. Good for your health, and it is a bit of a hazard, I must say, a bit of a safety hazard during the winter time when it starts freezing over. But you know, that's life, I guess. But like, nah, it's okay. But it is a super steep hill, I must say. That I'm not exaggerating about. It's probably one of the steepest hills I've ever had to walk casually. And I had to walk it casually every single day, and I still have to because I'm going back to RISD this fall. So yeah, but hopefully your legs got some strength to them because they will by the end of RISD. Also, if you're a weakling like me and you have like no upper body strength, art materials are heavy. Like heavy. And I think you probably know that if you've like been doing art your whole life. Just know that like you're gonna have to carry a lot of your own stuff, and it kind of sucks, to be honest. I'm trying not to dip my brush into this candle every time. Something I started doing recently is lighting candles, and I kind of love it. Going through and adding some little like grass guys just kind of throughout the whole thing, just to add a little bit more ambience, I guess. I don't know. There's more grass that like grows around the tree stump. I just kind of wanted to add those right now. Okay, let's get back to this tree stump before I must just dip my brush into the fire. Okay, let's get back to this before all of my paint colors for it dry. I must say the amount of blue that's been in this painting has been a bit absurd. To be honest with you, I think I should have done the other side of the tree stump the same way I did this side first before I did the front piece, just because this also covers that side. But you know, we're already here, so I may just have to do some extra work in a little bit. But anyway, I'm gonna try to introduce some of this yellow-ish color around here. Please, it's not really working the way I want it to. And now I'm gonna just blend all this in. Oh, another tip I have though for freshmen, if you're buying school supplies, don't, because you're not really gonna need any of them. You'll need maybe like 1 or 2 notebooks at most for the entire year, and then you're gonna need some sketchbooks and like some art supplies, but I wouldn't recommend buying any of them yet, just because your teachers are gonna give you a school supply list when you get back to school, and there is a RISD store there. So if you're gonna bring any art supplies, I would just say bring the art supplies that you know you like to use, not that necessarily you're like, oh, maybe we'll need them, because some teachers get so specific that they'll even tell you what brand they want, and so if you don't happen to have that exact brand, then they might not even want you to use those materials that you have. So don't get too excited and just bring what you want to work with, and then the rest you can leave up to your professors because they will give you a list of exactly what they're looking for. Okay, that's the middle piece of the tree stump. I'm gonna go and do the edge piece, which is what I just realized I should have done earlier. I just want to paint the moomins because I love the moomins. That's not even right enough. Okay. Cool, love it. I get to a point in a painting where I'm just very like, I want to finish it now, and it bothers me. So we are definitely reaching that moment right about now. And I almost just dipped my paintbrush into the fire again. Love it. Wow, so earlier I couldn't get the shadow dark enough, and now I made the shadow way too dark. I love how painting goes. Love the process. Love everything about art. Wow, art is my passion. I love it. Flip out a little bit, but it's fine. Oh my god, do you see how dark that is? Okay, added a bit more blue. Now I'm just going to basically wait for that part to dry like we did with the other parts. Cool. So now I'm going to, I think I can start working on this moomin. Also, I just realized I totally missed a part of the ground where I was supposed to paint where she's sitting. So hopefully that's an okay color. That is not an okay color match at all. I'm just gonna go in and paint that and pretend that I painted it earlier because I was supposed to. And I'm also gonna blend it a bit because it's still not an okay color match. It's so bright. No one will notice, it's okay. But I'm gonna start painting one of the moomins, which is so exciting. She's more of a yellow tone, which I believe is where the yellow is coming from in this color palette. So I'm gonna try my best to mix up this color. I'm gonna low-key make her a little green because of the color palette that we have going on. I think it would blend the colors in a bit more with the whole thing. So I'm gonna add a little bit of green into the mixture when I'm making up this color. But to be honest, did I just do it already? I think it's not light enough, but was that it? Was that really that easy? I'm gonna lighten it just a little bit because acrylic has the tendency to dry darker than you want it to, which is so annoying. And now I'm going to paint her. That looks good. Okay, so now I have to kind of match the shape that this is too dark, that I previously drew. Wow, I really didn't think it was gonna be too dark because I already made it super light, but I guess it just doesn't look that light when you, there we go, that's better. First I'm going to paint over every bit of the white spot, and then I'm gonna go in and try to get the silhouette right. Okay, so I know it doesn't have to be perfect because first of all, I'm gonna go over it with a black outline, and second of all, it'll be okay, but this part stresses me out a little bit. I'm gonna have to do some coats because basically I overlapped Moomin's background with the actual little Moomin person. I know, by the way, that this character that I'm painting right now isn't technically Moomin. It's one of Moomin's friends. I know that, but I don't remember her name. So that's why she just literally looks like Moomin, so that's why I'm also calling her Moomin. I know my Moomin trivia, it's okay. She's so cute. I'm trying to think of what else I can even tell you guys about RISD. This painting did come around like faster than I thought it would. Like, I thought the tree stump was gonna take me forever, but I think it's only taking me as long as I'm forcing it to, just because I'm waiting for everything to dry all the time. First coat on, and now I just need to do her little ears, which are super easy. This part is so satisfying because you get to like clean up. I know cleaning up when you're painting can be annoying sometimes, but I feel like when it's something like this and it's just like a solid color, it just is so satisfying. Okay, cool. I'm gonna wait for that to dry and probably apply a second coat, but for now, this is dry, so we can do the final part. Yeah, this is the final part of the tree stump. It's just a little fat because I think I didn't properly measure it out, but that's okay. So this part is basically the same as all the other parts of the tree stump that I did. I just kind of have to go through and add the shadow and then blend. And then I'm gonna add a bit of blue just to kind of mix in with that part because that part is super blue. I didn't mean to make it that blue, but in the picture it's very blue, and I guess according to the lighting it's very blue. I don't know. Well, we're figuring it out. All I have to do is blend, and then this tree stump is done, and then all I have to do is paint the moomins, and then I'll be done. And painting the moomins will be the best part because that's the funnest part, because that's what this entire painting has been leading up to, is just me being able to paint the moomins. That's all I want, please. I'm so excited to paint the moomins, guys. While I'm blending though, another tip I would have for RISD is relax a little bit. I was super stressed and nervous, and I was very excited going in my freshman year, but I feel like I was very, very stressed. And I think it's okay, and then you should just enjoy your freshman year. It can be super hard at times. You'll make it through. And also a general tip just for anyone. This isn't even a tip. This is just a reminder because you should be doing this. Just for anyone going into college, call your mom, call your dad. They miss you. They love you. Yeah, don't forget to do that. I know you can just run out of time sometimes, but just like try to remember to call your parents. That's all. Cool. I think I'm done blending. All that I need to do is paint the moomins. I think this guy's tacky and ready for the second coat of the light yellowish moomin color. I love doing like the second coat of paint colors because then you can like really see the color it's supposed to be shine through, and it just looks so good and it's not streaky anymore, and you're just like, yes, this is what I've been wanting. It's kind of funny to me how all of these moomin scenes, the background's always like super elaborate and like has a bunch of blending and shading and like rocks and pebbles and stuff, and then the moomins are just like solid colors. That guy's basically good for now, and now I'm going to blend a color for the other. I guess I do have a slight shadow. I'll put in the slight shadow just because I have a darker color of this shade, so I'm gonna let that dry. And so I guess while I'm waiting for that, I will add some of the grass and shrubbery that is around this little guy. I'm basically just going to get a very light color of the like darker green colors that we've been using. I'm gonna water it down, and then I'm just gonna add a few little leaves. This also hides the base of the trunk that's not really well blended into the ground. I think another thing that I really wish I knew about RISD before I was going in was like what kind of assignments I would be getting, just so I could be like mentally prepared, you know, for what was to come. But to be honest, I really don't know what to tell you, because even though I've gone through an entire semester of RISD, an entire 2 semesters of RISD, I still quite can't put a finger on what they're gonna assign you next, just because I can't say it's experimental, but I can't say it's not traditional. It really depends on what teacher you get. That's like the biggest thing I've learned at RISD, is that it really depends on what kind of teacher you get. It's really hard to say, but I've gotten some really crazy projects, but I've also gotten some very exciting and interesting projects, so it really depends on the teacher you get. And also how you decide to interpret the project, because there are also different ways to interpret each project. You know, think about your prompt before you get started, because maybe your first idea isn't always your best idea. That's also something I learned, is that your first idea isn't always your best idea. I'm gonna go through and add a shadow on this little guy with this slightly darker shade. Paint it in super duper fast. Doesn't take long at all to add a slight shadow when you don't have to blend it. So now I have a slight shadow going on her, and now I can mix up the color for the second moomin. He's kind of like a more bluish color, so I'm basically gonna take one of these blue-gray colors that I've made on my palette. I have like 5 million of them, obviously. I'm just gonna mix some white into it. Okay, I think this is good. So I'm gonna just use this, and that looks good to me. It's like a baby blue. I'm gonna use this bigger brush. Their snoots look super big. His looks super big because a bunch of his head was missing, but now it's not. Moomin is so round. I love how round Moomin is. So I did save a bit of this shade, this blue shade, that's slightly darker before I mixed it with a bunch of white, just so I do have another shade to do the shadows for this Moomin. Okay, now I'm going to map out the eyes. Okay, definitely messed up the eyes. So I'm going to paint over them. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go and paint on the shadows for the other Moomin. Shadows are so important, to be honest. It really just like brings dimension to something. Cool. And now I'm going to attempt to do the eyes again. Last time they were definitely like way too low and close together, so okay, I think that one is way better. Still looks kind of off, but I think I'll go with it and see how it goes. So I'm also going to go and add in the eyes for the other Moomin. Maybe it's because I had practice, but these ones just went so much better. Still not satisfied with the other ones, so I'm going to cover up a bit more because it doesn't quite look right to me. I spent so much time on this painting that I want it to look right. I don't want it to look weird because of an eye. That would be really annoying. Like if the facial expressions of the Moomins just didn't look right. So I'm gonna let these eyeballs dry, and I'm gonna do some of the detailing on the yellower moomin. I do have to wait for that to dry quite a bit, and then I'm going to add in their irises, and then I will outline them and be done. So she has these cute little brown eyes, and then moomin has these blue eyes. Okay, and there we go. So now I'm just gonna go in and line everything with black paint, and I'm not going to talk during this part because I'm going to be so stressed and like holding my breath, so I'm just going to do a time lapse through it, and then we'll be done with our moomin painting. So now I am finally done with my moomin painting. I think it came out really cute and I like it a lot, and I'm probably going to add it to my other collection. So now I have 2 moomin paintings relatively in the same position. Maybe I should draw a different pose next time. So this is how the painting turned out. I think it came out super cute, and thank you guys for hanging out with me. And if you guys are going into RISD, good luck. I hope to see you guys there, and if you guys ever see me at RISD and you want to say hi or get a picture or whatever, feel free to, and I will be more than happy to. So thanks for hanging out with me. I hope my tips for college or whatever were helpful for you guys, and that's about it. So yeah, bye from me and moomin. So stay hydrated, take a nap, and I will see you guys when I see you guys. Bye!